hip hit. So this is a movement now all focused in the visualization of the pelvic movement, but it's driven by an action that occurs within the knees with some involvement from your glute, so your butt muscles as well. What we're going to do off is we're going to start with the most basic form of your hip hit, and I'm just going to demonstrate to you what it looks like. So again, we've got a complete base position here, knees in micro bend, pelvis in neutral, nice and elongated through the body. Okay, so I'm going to take my arms out into second position here, and what I'm going to do is just bend one knee. So instead of maintaining the double micro bend, my one knee is now bending more than the other one, and what you'll notice is as I bend it, it naturally takes that hip down with it, because of course you've shortened the length of the leg having that bend, haven't you? So we've shortened it, and now we're going to straighten it, and then we're going to bend the other knee. Okay, and now that hip goes down respectively. Now what we want to do is alternate them, so it's just one knee alternating at a time, bend, 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 bend. Now what happens is they never completely go back into a straight locked out position, so I'm never coming back to a lockout. What I'm still doing is maintaining a little micro bend in both knees, so both knees maintain their softness throughout. Okay, so from here, bend, 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 bend. So nice and slowly, your knees are creating this beautiful movement in the hips where you will see each side go up and down, and that's all driven through the pistoning of the knees. Okay, so far so nice and straightforward, this one. Okay, lovely little movement. You're getting a nice little massage there in the lower portion of your spine, and it just gives this lovely sort of pendulum movement of your pelvis as it rocks from side to side. Now, very important, this movement is all happening again in one plane of movement. I've not got any twist going on forwards and backwards. Okay, I have not got any lateral movement side to side. All I have is this up down movement of the hips here. Okay, so this happens very much in line with the body, doesn't it? It's quite a small movement. I stay in my natural body frame here. Lovely. And as you get used to the movement, we're going to speed it up slightly. Just get used to speeding it. I don't know if you can hear, but I've got a lovely glass beaded hip belt, and it's starting to jingle with the movement, and that's usually a good sign if you hear things jingling, okay, as you speed up. So with this movement, it's important to feel, again, really grounded through the feet, through the floor, and nice and lifted through the upper body, lifted and stretched, so much so because when you really engage your other muscles of your core and your torso, they are what help you lock it into position and create this ability for isolation in one body part and then movement in another body part, whether it's fluid or percussive, and this is percussive at the moment. So really think about elongating the rest of the core as much as you can and getting those muscles involved. The shoulder muscles are involved. So now as I speed up more and more, you can see I'm trying to limit and minimize as much of the movement that transfers up through the rest of the body by keeping it all in that lower portion of the torso and then the pelvis. Okay, so as we speed up, what you'll notice is it starts to look like a nice wobbly hip shimmy, and this is one of the movements that belly dance is very well known for. Let's go up and switch our arms and put them into 8th genie position. Okay, this is one of the moves that belly dance is very well known for, is a hip shimmy. So nice and wobbly and loose. Okay, and this is what we're working up towards. So when you really feel like you've got that in the body, we're going to take it even bigger. Let's drop the arms and give you a break. So that's it, work through now a faster and smaller range of movement. So you can see before, if I slow it down, when I was doing these, it was nice and big, juicy and wobbly. Okay, and then as I get smaller, there's a nice little wobble, but the movement isn't quite so big because I don't have as much time to get through that complete range of movement. Okay, and you will feel some movement translate down through your feet. They will be gripping the floor, but they will feel like they are vibrating. And of course, you will get some movement translating through the upper body. What you want to do is make sure that it's not, you know, a huge movement, that you are trying to lock it down by staying nice and lifted through the rest of the body. Okay, now lovely, that's your hip hit into hip shimmy. Now as an add-on, what I'd like you to think about doing when you've got that muscle movement ingrained in is now to start thinking about including your glutes, so your butt muscles. So what we're going to do is, as we've bent one leg, the same glute on that bent side is relaxed, okay? And as I straighten the leg into the micro bend, and I'm snapping it back, if you like, into a micro bend, I'm going to squeeze my glute. So squeeze, 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 squeeze. I'm focusing all on this side first, just to get that squeeze in. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And what you'll notice is it gives a much sharper movement. Before, I was doing this. If I just use the knees on that one side, this is the movement I get, which is still lovely. It's soft, and there's plenty of room for this in belly dance. But then when you want something really snappy, get the glute involved. Okay, and it becomes a much stronger movement. Now, you may find it quite hard to isolate your glute, and let's try the other side while I keep talking. So squeeze, 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 squeeze. Okay, what you may find, and we'll just drill that one side for now, is your glute muscles don't want to work independently, or they both want to squeeze at the same time, or they just don't want to do anything at all. That's quite common because we're not used to usually clenching our big butt cheek muscles in isolation. So it's something that will take a little bit of time to work through. Okay, so now we're going to alternate both sides. Okay, let's take it into our fourth position. So that should be your right arm resting here at the side of your head. And let's change through our left arm. Lovely. And then let's drop the glutes out and speed it up into a nice wobbly shimmy. And it's good to try this in a mirror, because what you'll notice when you've got a shimmy right is it actually should look as though your belly button, if you're doing the shimmy right, is traveling left and right. Okay, it should move ever so slightly. It'll quiver it will look like it's quivering to the side, left and right. Okay, so there's your shimmy. You may find some days you've got the shimmy, some days you haven't. 1 minute you've got it, the next minute you haven't. So the only thing I can say about shimmies is they come with time. We're not usually used to, you know, twitching the legs in this way for this type of movement in an isolated pelvic movement, are we? So it's just something, again, that you practice it a little bit every day, a couple of minutes, we'll really start to see the movement ingrained. Okay, so that is your hip hit with your hip shimmy added on with a hip glute squeeze.